Very good morning, everybody. I think the big change with ASK as compared to the last years is that we have a new shareholder. And it's not just a new shareholder, this will have very big implications on the company. I personally joined the company myself last summer. I was attracted by Ron Capital. We're now in the hands of Ron Capital, a private equity group. And I must say I was immediately attracted to this project. ASK has always been a company with a very good reputation in the market, very clear leading positions from a technology point of view. But I think what they've missed in the last few years was the full support they needed to grow this company. They were not considered core in the previous by the previous owners. Now the big difference with the new shareholder Ron here is that we will be able to take this company to its full potential. And that's actually the charter we got from these owners. Guys, there is much more to be done with this company. Go get it. And that's for us a fantastic project as management to go after that. And you will see lots of changes in ASK in the next few years, having said that. Yeah. So, the first thing we've done is work at the management and at the competences in general. I'm not going to discuss everything. But we have here a new management of 8 people. 3 are ASK veterans. 2 are sitting here. They know all about the foundry industry. They know all about the history of the company. But there are 5 new people there, and attracted those people for their skill set. There are people who are international. I think we have in that company, we have American, British, German, Belgian and Greek. It's a very international management. But also a massive expertise in value creation, restructurings, acquisition. We brought that competence into the group because we want to grow this group. Yeah. We have designed in the first few months right away a new strategy for the group. We know exactly we want to take the group. And this is of course not something you do in an ivory tower, but we've based our strategy on the strategic challenges of the global foundry industry, which are common to all the players in that market. The first of course is the globalization. I read somewhere statistics that 80% of all the new car capacity which will be built between now and 2020 will be built in Asia. If you know that, and you have a leading position like we have in this market, it tells you right away where you want to go. So while the foundry market is globalizing more and more, we have no choice but to follow our customers, and you'll see us much more active in these emerging countries than we've ever done before, now that we have the possibility to do so. Second one is technological leadership. I think we have that. We will continue to invest heavily into that and make sure we keep that leading position from a technological research point of view. Retain qualified personnel. That's a problem we all have. We, like you, we have an aging population, I think, most of the companies, something we need to address. We're working also very hard on that. On one hand, I think with our new project, we see that easily to attract real talent across the globe. People are attracted to our project, and we'll be working on that very hard. Investment requirements, I touched on that. We will build new plants. We will do further growth, and you will see probably announcement in the next year on this type of further investments. The other one has to do with margin pressure and industry consolidation. This is in the mature markets, a mature industry. What you will see is consolidation, margin pressure. We will contribute to that. But I think one of the best contributors we can bring is help our customers bring their costs down while maintaining their quality. And that has all to do with research and technology. So while you will see in research that we will do products to make the products into higher quality, more environmentally friendly, we spend lots of our research to help our customers bring their overall cost down. I think that's one of the biggest drivers of our research and technology, as Phil will explain in a second. Okay. That I touched on. We have done a very clear analysis on which are for us the most attractive markets. And I'm talking countries now. And as I've said before, you will see us grow much faster into the Asian, Latin American market in the coming years. I'm not going to discuss all these examples here, but this gives you a couple of highlights of new technologies we've been launching, which most of them were really breakthrough in their fields, which we've been lasting over the 10 years. We are a technology leader. We've been successful over the last 10 years, and we really want to keep doing that. I think that's the big message of this slide. We bring lots of new solutions to the markets. In terms of presence, you'll get that in your pack. I'm not going to comment that very heavily. You see that we are primarily a European-American company with a 11% footprint in Asia-Pacific. As I've said, that 11% will grow, while we will grow the total chart. And in terms of presence, we are present in virtually every foundry outlet where you use the binders and the products we're selling. We start from a very good base. We have a footprint. We have over 20 manufacturing plants. We are in all major countries. We have the footprint in China, in India, in Mexico, in Latin America, all the countries where we want to grow. And we will build on that, invest heavier, as I said before, to increase our presence there. So if I summarize, this is a new ASK with much more gunpowder. We will accelerate what we've always wanted to do. We have the possibilities now. That means that we will not just be present in all regions, you will see us invest in all regions much more. Yeah? Bring the technologies we already have to emerging countries. The second one is we will not just continue but enhance our research in new products and new services, and in order to bring our customer the sustainable solutions. The model we have had for years, we like and we will enhance it. We're permanently on the work floor of our customers, see what their problems are, and in a true alliance, win-win situations, come up with solutions, and go in long-term collaborations. That's why I think we will, as I said in the bottom, we will for sure remain the service leader. So very excited about this new project. Me and the management team, I think we are at the beginning of a very interesting period for ASK Chemicals. Let me now hand over to Phil, who will walk you a bit deeper into innovation and product lines.
Thank you, Frank. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit this morning about our global R&D footprint. I'm going to tell you that we're present in many places across the globe, and we're present for very good reasons. We have 14 laboratories across the globe, and they're there principally so that we're very close to our customers, and we're very close to the sands, because sand varies tremendously across the globe, and also the climatic conditions, heat and humidity. So we're present in these 14 areas. We've got 2 global R&D centres. One is in Dublin, Ohio, and one in Hilden. And these centres are fully equipped with state-of-the-art equipment for analytical technology and for the development of all the products, binders and coatings, risers, feeding systems, and metallurgy, auxiliaries, and the little bits that people forget that make foundries really work. So we do all of that. The laboratories are staffed with a dedicated and passionate team of people who love to come to work in state-of-the-art surroundings, and these people are drawn up from very well-qualified chemists, metallurgists, material scientists, and technicians, as well as foundry engineers, and we cover the complete spectrum of science required for foundry technology. We've got 6 other R&D labs, and then we have some application labs as well. Our scientists also go out and talk to customers. They don't sit in an ivory tower. They don't do research in a little corner all on their own. We're doing application technology, so we really want to know what the customers need, and we're very responsive. So with taking a leading technological position, we also want to provide a sustainable technology. Now, over the years, a lot of work has been done, and a lot of products have been developed by many organisations. And whilst they were doing this research in the name of being green and trying to get towards green foundries, a lot of the output from this work was actually very, very expensive. So rather than trying to save the Earth, it actually turned out to cost the Earth. So we've refocused our ideas, so we're balancing the process efficiency new products that are environmentally friendly, but also taking into account the economic requirements of the foundries. So that's quite a big step change and quite a big realization. So instead of green at any cost, we're talking about being sustainable, and that includes cost sustainability. And one of our examples here is Vernon Ultra. So I've got 4 examples to briefly talk about. I won't bore you with the technological details. I find them very attractive myself, but you might not have the same passion for that. But Vernon Ultra has been developed and redeveloped, in fact, because people have been trying to eliminate the use of coatings. If you eliminate the use of coatings, you can save an enormous amount of money in the foundry process. Now, not all castings can have their coatings eliminated, but on those that we stand a good chance of doing, Vernon Ultra has proved that we can eliminate those steps associated with coating. And a further example, a lot of castings need some special sands because of the nature of some silica and the transformation at various temperatures. You get some mold defects or casting defects. And Vernon Ultra has been able to eliminate some of these casting defects. And it also helps, instead of using the special sands that sometimes you need, you can carry on using silica sand, but actually put in a little bit of Vernon Ultra. And that's really sustainable and really green, and you can see the cost benefits on the slide. Okay, automotive castings. A really huge amount of tonnage in these areas and really high specifications required. So Euro 6 specification and foundries requiring cost reductions year in, year out to help go towards their automotive customers. Then we identified that the engine designers wanted engines to go further, more miles, more kilometres between services. And to do that, one of the key components is how much sand is actually left in the cylinder head or the block, because that's going to find its way through the oil system into the sump. So we've developed this coating, marketSTEEL, which leaves less than 300 milligrams of residue in the casting. It's self-releasing. And I mean, that sounds like a big claim, but if you look at the scanning electron micrographs that we have, you can show that this is really self-releasing. And it's finding a very good position in the market. Intertech. Okay, most of the engines across the world are being made in organic processes. 99.9% are in the organic or the traditional processes. And these processes are great because they do everything you want them to do in terms of efficiency and speed and accuracy, dimensional accuracy. However, they have a disadvantage. There's some fume associated, and also in some cases there's some tar on semi-permanent molds. Means that you get a tar buildup from the condensate. We've spent a lot of time and a lot of dedication developing Innotech, specifically in its original form for semi-permanent molds or die casting, where we eliminated the tar. But then that found further application across a more general sector, where the fume is reduced by 95%. In fact, core making is odorless. So Innotech, and you may have seen downstairs the demonstration with the little blue racing car, you can't smell anything there at all. So that's odorless. And we were very pleased to win the BMW Supplier Award for sustainability on that basis, working very closely with our partner BMW. Okay. So, sort of in reverse order, I've told you the solution, if you like, from all those solvents. Work in parallel, because we've got lots of teams working in this R&D section. Another team came up with a solventless cold box. Solventless cold box, which is fantastic, reduces odours, reduces emissions, and I think I've got up there 20%. So it's reducing emissions on casting at 20%. So that's a great step forward for those foundries who don't really want yet to take the full step of a process change from cold to Innotek. And our very latest. This is going to be taking pride of place for some time. We've managed to develop a cold box binder which will have absolutely no hazardous references on the label. It's less than 1% free phenol, and the free formaldehyde is undetectable. It does contain solvent, but it does still reduce fume, not quite as much as the solventless system, but this is completely hazard-free. And this is our very latest, and it's being launched at this show. So there's a few ideas, a few examples of what we consider to be our contribution to the sustainability of the foundry market that we need to serve. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over now to Jörg.
Thank you, Phil. Before I talk about our principle, how we go into the foundries, it's very important for you to understand that our solutions normally are much better than my English. Yeah, very important to know. Okay, to make all these reality, to support our customer on a local or also on a global basis, it's very important that they have a strong R&D, an innovative R&D, that we have good product line managers who care about the different product lines, that we have strong sales teams that are in the right time at the customer. But at the end of the day, the technical guys in our department have to solve the problems, have to bring the new products in, have to bring totally new innovative topics into the foundries like Innotek or the things that you have heard from Phil a few minutes ago. We have these, you need these foundry men. And in our organization, we have roughly 70 engineers around the globe. It's a good mix out of generalists who know the whole process of a foundry and some specialists who are really, really good with different disciplines in the core shop, in the molding line, in the melting shop perhaps. With this combination, it's really possible to see the whole overview in such a foundry, that you do really focus on the right topics and you bring the right solution to the customer. It's very important that we have a strong department of technicians here in Europe and in America, and we have in the big markets everywhere around the local teams, which are also very important to understand the local circumstances, the sand conditions, the climate condition. Also the culture is very important to know, to really find a good solution. Yeah, you cannot do everywhere in the world everything with Germans or Americans or English guys. You have to have the local approach. This is very important. And normally we do it in a good team between of international experienced guys and local teams, go to the foundry and support them as good as possible. To do this, we started nearly 10 years ago to think about simulation. We have Magma, we have Flow 3D, we have Arena Flow. We started nearly 10 years ago, and I think we were the only one at this time to think about simulating of different processes in a foundry. We started with simulating a gating system. Then later on we started also to simulate the core shooting process, the gassing process, decoring process, and this for the traditional binder systems like cold box or warm box, and additional also with the new generations that we have available with these inorganic binders. Also, before we go to a foundry and so show them some solutions, it's very important that we have 2 pilot foundries where we simulate in our foundries, in our small foundries, the problem that the foundry has at first. Then we find a solution. We compare different ways of solutions for the customer, and if we are sure that we really understand the problem, then we go to the foundry and do the trials at the foundry. Normally, with this process, you are able to be successful latest in the second trial at the foundry. This means we will not interrupt too much the working time in the foundries. We simulate it at first, then we do it under real casting conditions in our pilot foundries, and then we go to the foundries. And this is not only a technical, it's also a commercial topic. Yeah, because everywhere in the world is a lot of price pressure, and the solution that you have to provide is also fit to commercial things. How we do it, very, very important, is the analyzation at the beginning. Normally do it with two technicians. If you go not there and really understand the problem of a foundry, talk to a lot of people about the problem or the potential that they want to achieve. Yeah, it's if you do not do it in the right way, very deeply, then you will be perhaps the second or third winner. You do it, you have to do it really deep, analyzed, and then if you really understand it, then you can solve the problem. If it's a casting defect, if they want to increase the cycle time, if they want to reduce somewhere the scrap rate, or some other topics that are important in a foundry, you have to understand it at first, and then you can solve it. And for this, we have nearly all in our team experts that know about design service. We have pattern makers in our group. We have a lot of guys who deal with topics in the core shops, in the melting shops, all in the foundry, in the molding lines. Very important. All of my technicians have minimum 10 to 15 years real experience in leading positions in different foundries. This is very, very important, because if you do not really understand what happens in a foundry, you cannot solve it. Yeah, you need experienced guys, and I think the availability of these foundry experts in the future is limited, not only in Europe, everywhere in the world. And I think with this approach, with these good technicians that we have on the team, we are really able to support and solve solutions and provide solutions. Yeah. Okay, everything begins with the first tools. This means patterns or core boxes. If you do in this step, in the very early step, the first one or two mistakes, at the end the result will be not optimal for the foundry. And this means that for big customers, for big accounts, and also medium-sized foundries, we try to support the foundries if they have to develop a new motor engine, new brake disc, or what else, that we stand together with these customers in a team and to discuss the best or different ways how we can produce these cores or the casting. We do it very close together with the local foundry guys. And then we make the tools, and if you have simulated them very early and in the right way, it saves a lot of time to get the first cutting. I can remember in the past, if we do a core box, we do it 3, 4, 5 times before we had the first solution. Normally such a process needs 6, 7, 8 or 9 months. If you are able to simulate it in a good way early enough, you can reduce the cycle times for getting the first cuttings dramatically. Yeah? And this is the approach. You can save there a lot of money for a foundry. And if you're in just in the right time, just from the beginning, you really can provide solution for the foundries. And like I mentioned before, we are really able to deal with all of the different topics in the foundries. From the pattern shop till the fettling job at the end, where you see the results of the casting. Yeah? This is, I would say, our approach that we have. So far, we can do this on a locally basis. We do this for every of our customers, and we are able also, during the last 5, 6, 7 years, to do it on a global basis, that we are able to follow our customer wherever they go. And perhaps one example, you have heard about BMW. You have seen we have won this BMW award. They produce the cylinder blocks and heads since nearly 5 years, 100% out of Innotec. It's the first emission-free foundry in the world. And, you know, they also opened up a foundry in China. They do the same there in China like in Germany. And very important, They do not go back to cold box or to warm box or to epoxy SO2. These old-fashioned core making systems. They try and they did it very successful. They started their production also in China under local conditions with Inotec, this new really good emission-free binder. And I would say this is really good. And we guided them. We care about the first sand sources. We do a lot of lab tests to help them that we find the right sand qualities before they open up the foundries. We simulate all these processes together as a team with our customer. And I can tell you, just from the beginning, and this foundry opened in a few months ago in China, they will be able to produce cylinder head and cinder block cores in a right way just from the beginning. And this is how we understand to support our customers on a global basis. Okay, this was it from my side.